For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway Coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Get 2 times the points when you buy any size hot or iced coffee drink with Speedy Rewards.
What up, Sports Ethos fans, and welcome to another edition of Ethos DFS Today. This is your Tuesday, December 6th edition. I am your host, Santino Cacone. We have a quick, nice, and efficient 3-game slate for you on this nice Tuesday. I'm recording this one late on Monday, so we might not have everything we'll need. But we do know, out of the 6 total teams, we have the Knicks, the Nets, the Mavs, the Celtics on the front end of a back-to-back. The Spurs are the lone team on the back end of a back-to-back. And the Lakers are the only one of the 6 on neither. Before we get into all of that, I want to let you guys know of something very close to us, and that's about Thrive Fantasy. Come prop up on Thrive Fantasy this NBA season. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sport and esports app for player props. What better way to mix in DFS than player props? With Thrive, you can eliminate the countless hours of research and focus on only the top-tier athletes that have the biggest impact on the game. Choose 10 out of 20 available player props to build your lineup. Each prop is assigned a fantasy value for both the over and the under based on how likely it is to hit. Hit the most props and rack up the most points to win a share of the prize pool. Thrive has over 50,000 in guaranteed prizes weekly for NBA and has awarded over $6 million. Yeah. If that doesn't sound like enough for you, then guess what? There's some promotions. If you deposit $10 and receive $10, you'll get 2 free $20 NBA tickets. If you do it for $100, you'll get 4 free $20 NBA tickets. Plus an instant $100 deposit match up to $100 for new users. $5,000 guaranteed contest nightly for NBA. That's a $20 entry, $1.5K to first place. Yep, that's not enough. You can use promo code ETHOS, that's ETHOS, when you sign up. And like I mentioned, you will receive 100% instant match on your first deposit up to $100. So go download the Thrive Fantasy app in the App Store or the Play Store, or by visiting their website, www.thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. All right, let's get to this 3-game slate. It should be a quick one here. The first game on the docket. We currently don't have a spread for it, but it is the Brooklyn Nets traveling to the other side, mostly to the middle of the country, to take on the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas. On the injury report, we have Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving, both out for the Nets. And then we have on the Dallas side, Luka, Tim Hardaway Jr., questionable. We have Porzingis probable, Willie Cauley-Stein as out. We'll start with the Nets. And this is it's going to be a big game. A lot of the heavy hitters in here. We have KD, Durant, we know. LaMarcus Aldridge over there looking a little bit better. But James Harden, back-to-back games in the 40s. 5 of 21 the last game, 4 of 11 the game before that. Gotta like the 21 shots in the last one, but that efficiency is not great. That's going to change, though. He's not going to be shooting that poorly for too much longer. I think he has the higher upside in this matchup. The floor goes to KD, but I'll take my chances on Harden with that upside. They're only $100 separates it. Both of them, you'll likely only get a chance to grab one. Harden would be the guy that I take more chances on. That upside and the potential to not shoot 5 of 21 from the field. The fact that he did shoot 5 of 21 from the field in the last one and only 4 of 11 the game before that, and he's still putting up 43 and 47 fantasy points respectively. The upside is evident there if he can hit 40% of his shots in that game. All right, outside of him, similar characters. Deandre Bembry, 4,300, getting a lot of run here. We know Joe Harris is out for a while. Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas, they're not getting a ton. Bruce Brown did see 26 minutes in the last one, so things might be changing in that direction, and I do put him in my player pool as well at 3,500. But Bembry's just been playing. Last game, he only played 23 minutes, still put up 26 fantasy points. Before that, 27, then 30, then 35, 26. He's still a very, very, very reasonable 4,300. So I'm going to keep him in that player pool continually because of that. Those two guys I like the most at their respective price tags. If James Johnson, he played the other night. If he's still good to go at 3,200, he makes for another cheap option to keep in your player pool. But I would prefer Bruce Brown at 300 more. And those two guys I like the most. I don't mind Aldridge at 5,700, but I don't want to overload on the Nets here. And I think Bembry, Brown make a lot of sense, especially if Porzingis or if Luka or Tim Hardaway Jr. miss. They might play smaller there.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Get 2 times the points when you buy any size hot or iced coffee drink with Speedy Rewards.
While traveling, it's usually best to pack light. When it comes to money, carrying some cash and having an alternative like Zelle is a great idea. Zelle's an easy way to send and receive money with people you trust. At any U.S. bank, it's already in thousands of different banking apps, and it's money straight into your bank account in minutes fast. Look for Zelle in your banking app today. Safe travels.
All right, going on to the other side. And yeah, we have Porzingis is probable, so he's likely to play. Luka, Hardaway Jr. are questionable. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they are on the front end of a back-to-back, so this is definitely tough to pin down here. We're not 100% sure. It's likely that all three of them could trade off on sitting one of these 2 games, and maybe Luka or Hardaway do miss this first game, play the next one. Porzingis misses the next one. We'll definitely see. We'll have to wait until the injury reports pop up, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. That said, if there's no Luka or Hardaway, Porzingis makes a ton of sense at 7.6. That's a very reasonable price tag for him to beat and a very good matchup. We'll be seeing time at both power forward and center in this one. Even with all 3 of them playing, that's still a good price tag for me. I do like Porzingis at that 7.6 price tag. Jalen Brunson, 5.2 would be a very reasonable play. People are going to be on him a lot if there is no Luka in this one. He played 37 minutes against Memphis. Could see him playing another ton of minutes here. And 5,200 is not a price tag that scares us off. Maxi Kleber, 4,400. With or without them, he makes some sense too to add some size here. 4,400, don't mind him. But I'm probably not going to have too much. I think Brunson would be the one guy I would gravitate towards the most without Luka and Porzingis. You can leave the rest of them alone. If you need to go Kleber, if you need to go Finney-Smith at their cheap price tag, sure. But I don't think you have to force it. And we could see, without Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock starting again. The minutes have been there. He's 4 or 5 of the last 6 games. At least 23 minutes. You can keep going after that, so he gets a ton of minutes. Production is not there, though, so he's just a guy that if you're fully loading up on the top end guys and throwing people in there who are playing at the last couple spots, that's all you do for him. Outside of that, I'm sticking with Porzingis, Brunson, and then maybe some stabs at the other guys if I fall into that range, but I would prefer the alternatives. All right, jumping on over to the next game, we have the New York Knicks traveling to, again, the center of the country, taking on the Spurs. We have a 212 game total, and the Knicks are 2.5 point home or road favorites. My bad. As I mentioned before, the Spurs won't have an injury report. They are on the back end of a back-to-back. Knicks are going to be on the front end of a back-to-back. But for the Spurs, Devin Vassell didn't play, and Zach Collins was out on this one. We'll see if things change because back end of a back-to-back, they could. But the New York Knicks don't have anybody on the injury report as of now, and that's where we will start with this one. Very solid matchup for them. Spurs play fast. They are a better defensive team anytime Jakob Poeltl's in the lineup, but they still can be exploited here. We know Alec Burks is getting the start, and he's playing a lot of minutes. The last one, he only played 27, though. Something changed there, and he didn't bring back a ton of fantasy points. That near 7K price tag is too high for me, so I don't want to go there. I would rather look at the alternatives like a Derrick Rose. I know Emmanuel Quickley didn't play as much last one, but Derrick Rose at 5'1", he likely won't play 30-something minutes there. But in a matchup against the Spurs, who play a lot of two-guard lineups with White, and when Vassell's playing, there a lot. Murray, they play a lot of smaller guys, so Rose could see extra minutes here. 5'1" makes a lot of sense for me. Evan Fournier at 4,700. See back-to-back games with over 30 minutes. That's intriguing to me. Back-to-back games with over 27 fantasy points. Also intriguing to me. I'll take a couple stabs at him at a very solid and reasonable price tag here. Mitch Robb, Nerlens Noel, they all seem healthy for this one. So you can look their way if you need to. I think we have better ways to spend our money, but you can always look their way if you need to. I would look Obi Toppin's way if you're, again, 3,100. He's going to get minutes in the teens, high teens, and he's a very productive per-minute player. So if you're loading up on the top guys, Obi Toppin makes sense to throw in there. But mainly I'll be looking at Fournier, Derrick Rose. Don't hate Randall. Probably won't have as much exposure to him just because of everybody else at slate, but he is certainly a solid option, and he's not overly expensive, so you can pair him with another star here. All right, on to the other side of the ball. We have Murray, a couple hundred more than Randall here. He's been playing out of his mind every game. Been just crushing it. We'll say his last 4 games, he's averaging over 52 fantasy points here. So he's been on fire. Home game, averaging nearly 50 fantasy points. Gotta like Murray, but I'm probably not going to have too much exposure of him in this scenario at 9,500. The Knicks have been playing better defense, and they are one of the better defensive teams against backcourts here. So I'll probably lay off him a little bit. I wish Derek White was still in that high fives. 6'2" is not a bad price tag now that he's starting to turn it on. Last 4 games been playing really well, but he's turning it on. He makes some sense here. I'm not going to overtly go to him, but he's going to be in my player pool because while they still can defend him really solidly, that's just a big discount for Murray to get some exposure here. But I do like Jakob Poeltl. This is a good matchup for him. Mitch Robb, Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson, Obi Toppin, Julius Randle, whoever they're throwing at them right now. The center position, while they are solid as a whole and individually sometimes, has been giving up a lot. And Jakob Poeltl has been really good here. I like getting some exposure to him. 5,900 makes a lot of sense. If Devin Vassell is out once again, that means there's more minutes for a Doug McDermott. That means there's more minutes for a Lonnie Walker. And you can take chances on them knowing that they'll get probably 20-ish or so minutes here at very cheap 4K and 3,400 values. So I do like that there. If Vassell is ready to play, that changes things. He's only 4,200. I would prefer him over those two guys. Still take a chance on Walker, but Vassell becomes a very solid value play there if he's ready to play and he's ready to go for his full allotment of minutes. All right, jumping on over to the last game of the night, we have the Boston Celtics traveling across the country to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. We don't have a spread for this one, but we do have an injury report. Romeo Langford is probable. Jaylen Brown is questionable. For the Celtics, on the Lakers, we have Trevor Ariza, Jay Huff, Kendrick Nunn all out. Carmelo Anthony questionable. Anthony Davis, LeBron James as probable. All right, we'll start with the Celtics. They are the away team. And we'll start with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum at 9,400. Last time he played these guys, he dropped 37 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 stocks. Shot 13 of 26 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, made all his free throws. 65, nearly 65 fantasy points. So squarely in play again. Obviously gets a big boost if Jaylen Brown's not in. Jaylen Brown is in and ready to play. Not as excited about him, but at 9,400, just like Julius Randle and Murray as well, you can get him and pair him with one of those other stars here. And I do love this matchup for Tatum. Again, especially if Jaylen Brown is not in. That is just a lot of usage, a lot of ball handling, playmaking, shot creating that Jason Tatum gets if Jaylen Brown's there. Big boost to his value here. If Jaylen Brown is in, slight dink, but I still think Jason Tatum makes for a solid play here. Outside of those two guys, I probably won't have much. Jaylen Brown's in. I'm not going to go to him at 8.5. Little high of a price tag, and he's been in and out of the lineup so much. Just can't trust it. Dennis Schroeder, no Jaylen Brown, 6'4", going against his old team in LA. Yeah, we saw what happened in the last one. Did really well. He had 36 fantasy points, 8 of 14 shooting, 21 actual points. He would make sense again here if there's no Jaylen Brown. Robert Williams, 5,800. Very solid play here. He played 36 minutes total in those last 2 games. Was a back-to-back, so that might have been something. Now we'll have a few days off, 3 days off since that last game. Maybe he's ready to go 30 minutes, and that's what we need. We need him to play a little bit more. If he is, makes for a solid play. He's strictly a tournament guy. Can't trust him in cash. You don't know what his floor is. You don't know his minutes floor. So can't trust him in cash, but he can separate you if he gets 30 minutes in this matchup especially. And that is something to keep an eye on. And I will be keeping an eye on that. I'll take some chances on him. But again, not safe for cash. And that's likely it. I might give a look ski to Al Horford, but likely not. I think I prefer Porzingis a couple $100 more in that same price range. On to the other side of the ball, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. We have AD, Westbrook, LeBron, 9.9 and up. All pretty solid price tags. I'm going to continue to look at LeBron as being the cheapest. Last 4 games, his minimum points was last game at 50, near 51 fantasy points. So he's bringing back value every game. He's just playing a boatload of minutes. Anytime he's playing, he's bringing back value. 50, and he shot 9 of 23 from the floor. 3 games before that he played, he had 30 actual points and above. So we know LeBron is on fire when he's playing right now, and the team has been winning when he plays. LeBron James at 9.9, I do prefer over the other 2 guys. Just the safe floor. I mean, AD, similar thing. 3 out of the last 4 games, he's brought 50 fantasy points. I just feel safer with LeBron. So at $300 cheaper. And we do have other options at forward, power forward center that I mentioned earlier. Dwight Howard, 3,800, started the last game. Might be a trend here. He only played 21 minutes, but he had 6 points, 5 boards, and a couple stocks, a couple assists. Brought back nearly 19 fantasy points. The game before that, 36. Probably going to start in this one. Celtics play big. They start Rob Williams and Al Horford. So I would sense Dwight Howard starts in this one at 3,800. That's a very solid, cheap price tag that I'll take advantage of. DeAndre Jordan is finally not in the rotation as shouldn't be really, so that's big. Carmelo Anthony is questionable coming into this one, so that could open up more rotation minutes. Might force them to stay big longer, even though they are playing a bigger opponent. So we'll see exactly what happens, but I think Dwight Howard is very safe, very going to be in a ton of my lineups at 3,800 here. Malik Monk, 4,400, might find himself in the starting lineup. Might be at that time. Last 2 games, he's dropped over 20 actual points. 3 out of the last 4, he's dropped over 20 actual points. And 4 to the last 5, or you can even say 5 of the last 6, at least 29 fantasy points at only 4,400. He's looking like a guy that we can keep running out there. And I will have a lot of exposure to him as well. All right. And that'll do it. I guess we can say our favorite high price, low price, cheap price guys here. Value, I think Dwight Howard at 3,800. Mention him. There's quite a few guys that we can look at, and some things will change, but Dwight Howard at 3,800, he should get the start. He should play a lot of minutes in this matchup because they do play big. And when he's playing a good chunk of minutes, if he can get 25 to 32 minutes here, easily going to bring back value there. Mid-tier, there are quite a few guys here. We'll see what happens in that second game with Luka's, or the first game with Luka's availability, but we'll just say that he's in at the moment. Porzingis 7-6, really like him there. But if Luka doesn't miss, he does get a boost, and Jalen Brunson at 5-2 would make a lot of sense as well. Expensive tier, we got a lot of guys here, and everywhere from Luka, who's questionable, all the way till Jaylen Brown, who's also questionable. So we got some guys here. I think that last game might have some nice plays there. LeBron, Tatum, I'll be leaning there for the discounts. We can still pair them with someone else on the top tier, but I will be leaning Tatum a lot here with LeBron as well. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. That does it for Tuesday's edition of DFS Today. We will catch you again tomorrow. Take care. Peace.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway Coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Get 2 times the points when you buy any size hot or iced coffee drink with Speedy Rewards.
Do you love what you do? Work at Saia LTL Freight, and you will. We've been the most elite team in shipping for 95 years and counting by caring for our people like family. So whether you're on the docks or in the driver's seat, when you put on our uniform, you're joining a first-class tradition of excellence. Start your new journey with us today. Visit workatsaia.com now. That's workatsaia.com.